Are you ready? A pleasant good morning to all Dominicans. We welcome you to the signing ceremony for the agreement between the government of Dominica and the Aid Bank in respect of the funds for the small business loans. We begin, as usual, with a prayer. Let us begin with the Lord's Prayer. Please stand. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Honorable Dennis Charles, Minister for Tourism, International Transport, Maritime Initiatives, also responsible for small business and the private sector relations. Honorable Kasani Laville, Minister for Public Works and the Digital Economy. Miss Marie-Therese Johnson, General Manager of Aid Bank. The media, listening Dominicans, here and abroad, residents. We are happy this morning. Just a few days, just on Sunday, the Honorable Prime Minister announced a package of measures in response to the COVID pandemic. And we are happy this morning that we are able to sign an agreement between the government of Dominica and the Aid Bank. I invite the Honorable Dennis Charles, Minister for Tourism, Minister responsible for small business and the private sector relations, to welcome you.
Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, Honorable Kasani Laville, Minister of Public Works, Acting FS Dennis Edwards, Acting PSOPM Missy Henderson, General Manager of the Aid Bank Marie-Therese Johnson, the media Dominicans. A government of action. On Sunday, the Prime Minister announced financial and fiscal measures to sustain our economy as we continue to confront this global pandemic. Today, I welcome you to the official signing ceremony of the Small Business Facility at the Dominica Agricultural Industrial Bank. I must say, over the last few days, there has been a lot of excitement about this facility. I have received numerous calls from small business owners who want to know the criteria, the requirements in order to access those funds. I want to encourage all of you that when you do access those funds and are approved, that you use those funds wisely to restart your business. Please be mindful that we are still going through a pandemic, and it's very important that we practice prudent cash management. I must say that some have expressed concern about the application process at the Aid Bank. The General Manager has assured me that once you have applied and your application is complete and approved, you should receive a check within 48 hours. So, I want to say again that I want to remind all businesses again to continue to adhere to the protocols established by the Ministry of Health to reopen your business. It is very important that we continue to sanitize, wear a mask when in public to protect ourselves and families. I must commend the Minister of Finance for quickly responding to the needs of our small business owners. He's doing this on the backdrop that government is currently losing revenue at this moment, but yet he has responded to ensure that we can make $5 million available at the Aid Bank to help small business owners who have been unable to function or have been making less revenue because of the pandemic and SRO. It really shows the sensitivity of the government to respond to the plight of its people. So once again, a promise made, a promise kept. Here we are. Thank you.
Many thanks to the Honorable Minister for her welcome remarks. I know she's very passionate about the private sector, not just tourism, but the private sector and the small businesses as well. Ms. Marie-Therese Johnson, the General Manager of Aid Bank, is here with us, and I'm sure she's very happy to be receiving the funds and another facility from the government of Dominica. We welcome her to give a few remarks.
Dr. the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Resilience, Economic Affairs, Investment, Planning, Sustainable Development, Telecommunications and Broadcasting, Honorable Dennis Charles, Minister of Tourism, International Transport and Initiatives, with responsibility for small business and private sector relations, Honorable Kasani Laville, Minister of Public Works and the Digital Economy, Ms. Denise Edwards, Acting Financial Secretary, members of the media, those listening abroad and at home, good morning. On behalf of the Board of Directors, management and staff of the Dominica Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank, let me first take this opportunity to thank you and all the frontline workers who helped us navigate through this ongoing global pandemic. Travel restrictions imposed as a result of COVID-19 has resulted in the inability of our chairman, His Excellency Martin Charles, from being here today, and I take the opportunity to express sincere thanks on his behalf. He would have loved to be here. I also want to express heartfelt thanks to the government of Dominica for the cash injection into the aid bank at this time, as part of this proactive management of our coordinated response. Life happens. We only have control of our response to it. The signing of this loan agreement is symbolic, since it marks the first week of Dominica declaring its COVID-19 free status. We are optimistic that with God's help, Dominica can remain a safe and healthy place to live. For us at the Aid Bank, this is a timely intervention, and we look with keen anticipation to the positive impact which will be evident in the economy upon disbursement of these funds. I encourage persons whose businesses have been impacted from the pandemic to come and speak with us. Our team of banking professionals stand ready to serve you. Give us a call at 448-2853 or 255-9400, or email us at customerservice@aidbank.com. Thanks again, and always remember that Aid Bank cares. Thank you.
Many thanks to Ms. Marie-Therese Johnson, General Manager of the Aid Bank. We invite the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, who on Sunday evening announced this facility and today will be part of this ceremony and addressing you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Edwards. Ms. Edwards is the Acting Financial Secretary for Dominica. Let me recognize my colleague ministers, Honorable Dennis Charles, Honorable Cassidy Laville, and also the General Manager of the Aid Bank, Ms. Johnson, the media, and of course to the viewing and listening public. I am very happy to be part of this very short but important ceremony. That is the signing of the loan agreement between the government and the Aid Bank to allow for the on-lending to small business owners whose businesses would have been impacted by COVID-19. I also want to place on record my gratitude to the acting FS and to Honorable Charles and others who were able very quickly to review the agreement to allow for the signing today. I want to place on record also the extraordinarily good relationship of the World Bank. The World Bank continues to be a very strong partner of Dominica, and I am sure some of them from the World Bank must be watching from the various locations across the world, especially in Washington, D.C. And so I want to let them know that I am personally very grateful for the continued partnership. I also want to thank the IMF for some of the funds that it would have made available to us, some 14 million US dollars, and in a very rapid manner. And those funds are being utilized to assist with our response to COVID-19. I want to say to our citizens that it's important that we take advantage of these facilities. 1% interest on any loan amount is a significant consideration. And the generous terms must also be considered in terms of the repayment schedule and the grace period for these loans. I am happy to note that the Aid Bank will seek to efficiently respond to the applicants, because for many of these applicants, time is certainly of the essence. And seeing that our country is gradually reopening, it is important for them to reposition themselves so that their business activities can resume and resume in a very positive manner. I want to say to the bus drivers, you cannot in fact access these loans. You can in fact access these loans. I heard Ghost on the program last night asking whether people like himself who provide exclusive services to our tourists, they can in fact apply for these loans. These loans can be used for a wide range of business activities. It could help cover your recurrent costs, your overheads, or to buy equipment or machinery for your small business. What we have tried to tailor this loan facility to respond to the specific challenges which businesses are encountering. Normally, under normal circumstances, you won't get a small business loan to pay salaries or to cover recurrent expenditure. But we recognize that this is an extraordinary time, and extraordinary actions are required to respond to those challenges. And so let me say to those to people out there, don't let anybody fool you. This is good money. And you should take advantage of it, because there's no way in the Caribbean now where you'll get 1% money. And we are getting it here in Dominica, and we should take full advantage of it. In speaking to the management of the bank, I've been told the moment I made the announcement on Sunday, by Tuesday morning they would have had over 60 inquiries, people saying, how can I apply? You can in fact apply from today formally with the Aid Bank, and we have mandated that they try to do a 48-hour turnaround with the application, and I look forward to hearing this as well. The whole idea of this is also to seek to ensure, as far as practically possible, we can sustain employment levels, because as we see the world over, the major challenge confronting countries is the unemployment. I mean, in the United States alone, you're talking about some 36 million people who have applied for unemployment benefits. In Europe, I believe the number is about 30 million as well, and growing. And so whatever actions we can take as a government to sustain employment levels, we are prepared to do so, and we are doing so, as a matter of fact. And so I want people to be encouraged to take advantage of this. In agriculture, as you know, we're also providing a lot of support, from inputs to cash to support farm labor, purchase of farm implements, and the list goes on and on. I can also say to the citizens that you are able also to apply now, as we speak, for the income support at the Dominica Social Security. And again, I want to thank the DSS for itself moving so quickly, because we'll be providing the DSS with some $15.7 million to provide income support to those whose income would have been affected as a result of COVID-19. And again, if you're a bus driver, you can apply for this. You're a barber, you're pedicurists and manicurists, and you're a domestic worker. Many domestic workers had to stay home because they couldn't go to the residences of their employers. You were able to apply for this, and I would encourage you to apply for it. And let us understand this. No matter how small the amount may be in people's eyes or in our own view, whether it's $1 or $5 or $100, it will make a difference in our lives. And therefore, we must not be fooled. We must go forward and take advantage of these opportunities. And as we indicated, this $5 million is an initial amount. We will see how the applications go, and where we believe that there needs to be a top-up on this $5 million, the government is open to doing so, because we want to ensure we can touch as many people as possible with these interventions. Now, one has to appreciate that the aid bank is really it's a liability and an asset of the state, or the Treasury of Dominica. The DSS owns about 25% of the shares, but at the end of the day, the government must ensure that the DSS funds, investments are protected. This is why it is only the DSS in law that can get a dividend from the aid bank. The government does not receive. And so when we take actions, for example, in respect to the very generous offers which the aid bank is making, having been approved by the Minister of Finance in terms of the deferment of loan payments, we have to support the aid bank to ensure that it can meet its own daily expenses and its own commitment to external creditors. And so I'm hoping to engage the aid bank, because they have maybe close to $100 million of loans that we have given to them in my lifetime as Minister of Finance, and with generous interest rates and with generous repayment schedules. But I'm looking at the possibility of even canceling one or two of these loans, and maybe use this as equity in our investments in the bank, to give the bank itself some more breathing space to be able to respond to the challenges confronting all of us in this world and so forth. So while the aid bank has been given, nobody has been given the aid bank, and I'm looking to give the aid bank something in this period. So this is an exciting time. I am again appealing to all of you to take advantage of it. In this period, each of us, all of us, must be frugal. Spend on what you need, not on what you want. And because we're all locked in, we watch a lot more TV, and we see a lot more commercials, and we see a lot of things being advertised, my brother and sister, leave Amazon where Amazon is. Please, if you do not need something on Amazon, leave it where it is. Let us spend on what we need, because we do not know how long this pandemic will be with us in this world. Yes, we open up our borders. Yes, we open up the economy, but we are part of a global economy. And with so many people the world over unemployed, we have to ensure that we spend, and we spend wisely. Please spend wisely. You don't need two cell phones, because you can't answer two phones at the same time. Watch the amount of money you spend on top up. If $100 is your max for the month, and you use it in the first week of the month, let people call you. You have a way of sending a message to somebody, say, call this number, and let the person call you. So let us watch what we spend, how much we spend. Let us all weather this storm together. And if we work together, I believe we can certainly overcome this challenge. This challenge is nothing like what we have seen before. but we have been through challenges and we have overcome those challenges. So again, I am very excited for this, and I look to hear the good news of people receiving both the income support and the small loans facility. And between these two facilities, you're talking about some $20.7 million. That is just in two interventions. And there are many other interventions that we're making in respect to providing tax rebates to the private sector entities. This is money that belongs to the state, but we're giving it to the private sector to maintain employment levels and so forth. And I am very excited for this, and I know there's so many people who've been affected by this COVID-19, but help is here. Thank God for this, and let us take advantage of it. And just to say to the aid bank, I don't think you guys want me to say anything publicly that is negative about the aid bank. And so I'm hoping that, Madam Manager, you can tell your staff that they have to be diligent, they have to be respectful, they have to be responsive. And if it's 5 documents somebody needs to bring, and they have these 5 documents, don't send them back home for something that is not required. It's 5 documents, person has it, bam, let's roll. This back and forth that we have in Dominica, and come back tomorrow, and you come back with the same document, tell you, oh, you're wrong date, next week. And you tell you, you have to bring a driver's license. You bring it. And they, what about your social security card? Bring it. They know about your passport. I don't have a passport. You have to go and apply for a passport. My friend, please, people need help. Let us get the help to them as quickly as possible. Let us maintain the prudent and responsible issues of good governance, accountability, and transparency. But at the same time, we have to be responsive. And responsive meaning that we have to be diligent and we have to be efficient so that people can get the help they need to sustain their small businesses and to ensure that they can keep people who are employed with them. I think so far, by the grace of God, we have managed the pandemic very well. This is not a time for us to be complacent. This is not a time for us to go and jump in the streets. This is a time for us to be very, very vigilant, very vigilant. And so I'm very happy to be here. Again, I want to thank the acting FS for efforts in getting these documents ready for signing. And I think I've said enough. It's time for us to go and get the money to the bank and get the people to get the money so they can get things going. But I must say, finally, I am very, very, very grateful and proud of the behavior of the public, in all of this period. You have been responsive and you have been disciplined, and that has been very helpful in us containing this measure. But we must not be complacent. We have to continue. Thank you very much, and may God bless you, and may God bless our country. Curtis, do you have a question? No? I just want to say, while we witnessing the signing of the loan agreement, that the $15.7 million, which will be sent into the DSS, are not DSS funds. So it is not the redundancy facility. It is government funds that is allowing the DSS to manage, because the DSS is a little bit more efficient than government. So we're allowing DSS to manage it for us. They have the experience and they have the structure to do so. But just to say that these are government funds, there were some issues with redundancy funds and so on. So, but thank God we're able to get some funds, and we're sending this $15.7 million to the DSS. And I think FS, all of the forms are online, so you can go on the government website. You can either do it online, or if you want to hand deliver a hard copy to DSS and also to the aid bank, I believe, then you can do so. We try and, as far as possible, to facilitate people with the various challenges.
By the way, Pierre, this money, you can access them almost immediately.
Almost immediately. Yeah, they can apply immediately. Obviously, it will take you a day or two to do the evaluation and of the documents, the assessment of the documents, their own internal verifications. So really, it's a simple, and the application form is very, very simple. You know, very, very simple. And the supporting documents which you require are also very straightforward documents. There's no big science in this. We've tried to make it as simple as possible. I think the application form is a one-pager. One page. I tell them, look, if anything long on a page, they'll bring it to me. So they brought back one page, you know, and I don't want no document like you have to have a PhD to fill it. You see, so it's a one-pager. Anybody can fill it and so on. Even if you can't read and write, you can fill these things. It's simple. It's your name, your business place, your telephone number, your business address, your home address. That's it, basically, you know. And you need some supporting documents, evidence of your business being registered in Dominica before March 22nd. You know, so that's all. Thank you very much. You on tonight?
You want tonight?
Tonight? You and Ben.
Sure.
Oh. So you guys go long because it's Thursday.
Thank you very much for your participation. But before we leave, let me just give you again the website. You could log on to www.dominica.gov.dm. In the case of the small business grants and the employee benefit or employee grants, you could log on as well to www.dss.dm or a paper application. The paper application will be available at the Village Council offices from tomorrow, and as well as the Dominica Social Security. In the case of the loans, the agreement for which we just signed, again, www.dominica.gov.dm or www.aidbank.com. Or again, you could pick up an application at the Aid Bank, or again, we will send them across to the Village Council offices. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank the media for his participation this morning. I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister who addressed us this morning, also in his capacity as Minister for Finance. Honorable Dennis Charles, the representative for the small businesses, the private sector, the Minister for Tourism, International Transport, Maritime Initiatives. I think it's so long. And then we have Honorable Kasani Laville, who also was with us, Minister for Public Works and as well the digital economy. He has a lot under his portfolio as well in terms of expanding our digital offering and overall our digital transformation. We also had with us this morning the lady who's receiving the money from the government and will manage and will ensure that everybody gets the loans very quickly. And we're really happy to have her here with us as well. Thank you very much for listening and have a blessed and present day.
Just before you leave, just about the minister about the FS.
Well, the substantive holder of the post, who is Mrs. Rosamond Edwards, is on pre-retirement leave. These people, they retire too young in Dominica. I think retirement should be about 70 years or something, you know. And then I've also allowed for her to serve in the Executive Director's office in Washington, Mrs. Edwards, the Financial Secretary. So she's in pre-retirement leave, but also working in the Executive Director's office in the World Bank, IMF, as our original representative there. And of course, we will continue to have access to her even in that position. Mrs. Edwards has had an extraordinarily exceptional contribution made in the public service of Dominica. Very, very frugal, very detailed, very diligent, and very responsible. And I think she was an asset to Dominica, especially during these very difficult periods. But we have in Miss Edwards, whom I have the greatest of confidence in, with abilities and a capacity, and her ability to advise the government on matters of finance and economic issues. So I have every confidence in Ms. Dennis Edwards. There's a vacancy, so
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.